Hello, this is Malorian, this is the Orc Tactical Team, and we're going to be talking about today is the Ogre Magical Blitz. Now, for people that play fairly competitively, you've probably already seen this already, but for those who have not seen it already, it's really good to know about it, know what to expect, because if you get caught by this, it's really a rude awakening, and then also what to do to try and stop it. Now, what this is usually two parts. The first part, of course, is the Hell Heart. People have probably heard about this thing. What happens is when they activate it, it goes out 5d6, and for whatever enemy wizards it gets to, they have a miscast. And so it's a fairly nasty way of damaging or killing enemy wizards and also ending their magic phases if their miscasts are either death or losing magic levels or losing dice. So that's one part of it. The other one is also the Death Fist, and what this really goes on is the whole fact that you need to have an ogre with death magic and also the Greedy Fist. And this is really kind of a silly loophole, but it's completely rules as written. And what it is the Greedy Fist says that for every time that an enemy wizard is hit by the model that has the Greedy Fist, then it's going to be losing a magic level. And of course, losing the spells and all that stuff too. So usually what that means is punch a guy in the face, he's going to lose magic levels. However, there's ways to hit guys without being in combat. They can't get any shooting or any guns, but with death magic and things like that, all of a sudden they can be sniping out characters and it counts as hits. Now, this isn't all of death magic. It's actually really just two spells. There's the Caress Lanif, and there's also the Fate of Bajuna. And what these will do is do a number of hits, character modification for depending what your stats are, and from there, however number of hits you take, boom, you're going to be maybe dying from whatever the spell does, but even if the spell doesn't manage to do anything to you because of rolls or because of ward saves, whatever it is, the fact is that you're losing all these magic levels. So when you put this all together, what you have is an army that kind of moves forward, blasts you, takes away your magic levels, and then during your magic phase, popping the Hell Heart, you have tons of miscasts, your whole magic phase could be over, and all of a sudden, boom, you're in combat. And of course, we know in 8th that magic phases can just win you games, of course, if you have the ogres coming in, and if you had the chance to hit them with Pit of Shades, or Purple Sun, or you have Shadow Magic, and you're about to debuff them, or Lore of Life, and you're about to really make your guys toughness 8, or whatever it is. If ogre players can shut this down, it's huge. So now we know the threat, and the next stage is what do we do to stop it? And the number one thing you have is this isn't going to be a surprise. If you're ever up against this, it's not like it's something where it's an orc war boss and oh my god, I don't know what he's going to have until I touch him. You're going to know this setup before you even start playing, and that really comes down to the fact that you're going to be able to see their characters and what lores they roll for. Now, if they ever want to have an ogre with death magic, they need to have two characters, and that's because they always have to have one with gut magic. So if you have somebody coming in with two of these ogre casters, you know, one of them probably going to be rolling with gut magic because they have to, and the other one with death magic, all of a sudden you know that this whole thing is coming. Also, with the way that these items work is that they are a lot of points. They are not enough to fit both onto the same hero level caster. So they're going to have to be split up. Obviously, the Greedy Fist will be on the Death Mage, and then the Hell Heart is going to be off on the other one. So you're going to be seeing this right away. And the other part of this is when they roll their spells, you're going to know what they're actually going to be getting with this. And so, like I said, out of all the ones in there, there's only a couple of them that actually can make it work. And so if they don't get it, or if they only get one, you know that when it comes up, I need to stop this spell. You know, sure, you might be lowering my leadership, you might be doing something else crazy that death does, but I have to make sure I shut down this spell if I want to have a magic phase. So there you have it. There's the first part of it where you're going to be knowing that it's coming because you get to see what characters are bringing and what spells they rolled for. The next part of it they can really use to your favor is that all these parts of it are really range dependent. And of course you could say that for everything, but these things here actually have a fairly short range. Starting off with the Hellheart, the way it works, like we already said, is it's 5d6. And for those not really sure about the math, that means on average it's going out 17 and a half inches. So it's not super huge. We're not talking 2 feet, 3 feet spells. It's fairly short and it's random, right? So even when they pull this stuff off, it's not going to be all that easy. And so what that really means is that if you ever are facing this and you're seeing it happen, you want to have your caster farther back. Hopefully, from my other advice I've been giving in the past, you're running a bunker now, you have something that you can be running behind to keep your mage safe, because he's not going to be safe by himself, because they're going to have iron blasters to snipe him off. So you're going to need some little bunker back there from the hide-in. And then all you really need to do is probably at least have your sorcerer or shaman or whatever it is 18 inches back from the very front of your line, so that even if they charge in and try pulling Hellheart, on average they'll be out of range. And of course you can go farther back depending on what your level of risk that you're willing to take, and it also depends too what spells you're wanting to cast and where you need to be in position. But really, depending, I mean, if you're not shooting out magic missiles or something, you can probably be fairly back and still be able to send out all your augments and stuff like that. You know, maybe going to hexes, you're going to have to go for the boosted range, but you should be okay. And in the end, it's probably better off than getting cranked by this stuff. The other thing, too, is that in the case that it does meet the range to get to, you know, don't be a fool. Don't have your mage right in the center. Have them on the corner of the bunker, so if there is a big blast, it's only going to be killing a few guys. So there's that part. The other part you could be doing with that as well is they could always be having kind of a bait character, right? Just like in combat where you might have a bait unit to draw them in, and then you get the real big important combat to happen with your main unit and on your turn. You can also be doing this with your shamans, so that if you're running as well multiple, so let's say a level 4 and a level 1, the level 1 can be in the front lines, the level 4 in the back, and what that hopefully does is make it so that they pop their Hellheart early, just so that they can at least get the level 1, hoping to get, like, say, quintuple 6s to get back to the last guy, which isn't going to happen probably, and then they're just doing a miscast on that level 1, your level 4 is completely fine. So that's something else you can work in if you do have multiple wizards, and again, depending on your level of risk. If you just don't want anybody to have a miscast, you can always hide everything in the back there. Now, the other part now is getting to that death magic, and as I said, there's only a couple of them that you really have to worry about. And again, they're very short range. For both of them, the range is only 12 inches. So they really have to be right there up in your face. Now, the one thing that is different about that is that the Caress and Lanif can be boosted and can go up to 24. So that is fairly significant. And it is pretty much impossible to hide from that one. But again, you know at least that with your Dispel dice, you're stopping that spell. You know, making sure that's not going to happen. And so that's really it. Whereas the last one, you're saying that you're being 18 inches back to make sure that's not going to be happening. Well, really, if you're doing that now for the Hellheart, you're going to be safe from these death spells, except for the boost of 24. So that's the big thing there that you have to make sure you do. If you're up against this, know what to expect. Watch to see what casters you have, what spells, so that you know what actually is going to be coming at you. Maybe you won't even have the whole Curse of Lanif and you don't have to worry about it. And then after that, just making sure that you put your guys in your bunker, farther back, probably 18 inches would I'd be saying, just to keep it fairly safe and average. And then also you can be trying to bait these things out by having maybe a level 1 that's in the front to try and draw these things out. But then again, you also have to keep in this whole risk acceptance, where if they do that to him, it could be still shutting down your magic phase if you're losing power dice. And then also that's power dice that your level 4 can't be using. The final thing to be looking at is what's happening in the game, because you can be really focused on, oh my god, look at this. He has the 2 guys, he has the Death Fist, oh my god, he has the Hellheart, alright, he's going for the Magical Blitz, we're going to stop this. But of course, depending on what's happening in the fight right now, it might not matter whatsoever. And what I'm saying by that is, depending on what the scenario is and what the situation is, it could be that even if they pull these off and they're killing off your mages, that might be completely fine. Depending on what your lures are, maybe you don't really need those lures to really help you. Maybe you've gone for Wizard Light. Maybe you have some really strong characters, combat characters, and so if they're targeting your wizards, the main thing you want is those combat wizards to be in the front, ready to fight these ogres once they charge. So even though this is a really big deal, and you can see this in top competitive armies, still look at the situation and really rate how important is this at this situation. Do I really have to make sure that I'm going to be throwing all my dice to stop Crests of Lanif, or is it more important for me to make sure that everyone's not going to get +1 toughness and stubborn? Stuff like that, right? So really look at it, assess it, and really knowledge is power. So there you go. Hope you liked it. Thanks. Bye.